Hi, this is Rob from Intelligent Irrigation LLC, and we're here in beautiful Pasadena today. And we're actually in the middle of a big heat wave. We're up about 105 degrees right now. But we're over at Connie's house, and Connie installed the AquaJet, and she did everything on her own, and then asked us to come over and check it out. So we'll come over and we're going to shoot a video because we think she did a really good job. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce you to Connie, and she's going to explain what she did on how she hooked up the AquaJet, not just in her bed, but you know, she came off the faucet and then plumbed in the PVC and then to the bed. So she'll explain everything that we did, and we'll be right back in just a minute. So here we are with Connie Ballard, and just a quick correction, we're in Arcadia, California, but it's still just as hot. So here we are, and this is Connie Ballard. And Connie, first of all, tell us, how did you come across the AquaJet?
I first learned about the system on the internet, and I was researching drip systems actually, and came across John Kohler's site, growingyourgreens.com, and he had just installed it in his home, and I was following the progress of that installation, and when I saw the results of the growth between the drip system, he did a comparison, and the AquaJet, there was significant difference in the growth and the yield. So I was very interested and contacted the company, and I wanted to install it myself. So that's how I got introduced to you.
Great. So yeah, we're here today, and we really like what she did as far as the install, because like I said, she just came over, she picked up the parts, and she did it all on her own. So we're going to have her walk us through exactly what we did. So Connie, if you would be so kind, as we'll start right here with the water source. So explain to us what you did, and continue and walk us over the bed, and then we'll continue from there with the AquaJet.
Okay. We do have a sprinkler system, but the owner of the house, I rent here in Arcadia. The owner and I have 2 vegetable beds that we built last fall, and so we're new gardeners. So because the sprinkler system was plumbed to the beds to do a drip system, and I was now switching and doing the AquaJet, I needed to come off of the hose bib. So that's what you see down here. And what I did was I just had a joiner, and then came down. I went down about 8 inches, and then I trenched, and then if you'll follow me with the camera, I went along here underneath this brick thing, and it's about 40 feet that I went all the way to the vegetable bed. And here we have the 2 vegetable beds. The one on the right is my landlord's, and she's going to be doing a drip system. So what's cool about this is that we'll be able to do a comparison between the 2 systems, the AquaJet and the drip system. So I trenched all the way up to the vegetable bed and put in a filter. I also have an inline dechlorinator that's buried, you can't see that, and I put a timer with an anti-siphon valve. And so right now what you're seeing is the actual system before the soil comes in, and we were testing it, so that's the wet spots that you see.
Okay, great. So you mentioned the dechlorinator, so that was the green night, right?
Correct.
And you got it buried in line, so you put the green line in line with your PVC.
Correct.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yes, very good job. Okay, so that's what we like, is Connie had she picked a spot, put it in line, and what you could do to do that is you use your hose to pipe PVC, and then you can configure it to go right in line with your 1-inch PVC, and therefore, as you see, it's not showing, everything looks good with that, so the water is being dechlorinated. So tell us about your timer, Connie, because we look at the solar timer, we really like this one. This is the DIG timer, and if you can explain to us about the timer and the anti-siphon valve.
Yeah, well, first of all, this is the filter where you can also add some azomite or what products that are fertilizer that'll go into the system, which is pretty cool. I like that factor. And then this is the DIG timer, which I got at Home Depot, and that was recommended by Intelligent Irrigation LLC. And it's, you want me to turn it on, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to turn on the system for you. What's really nice is that we're going to program this to water about 2 minutes every day. And so I'm turning it on right now. It's that simple. And then you'll see the kind of a backflow thing clearing out the lines. And then this is going to queue up, and the pressure is going to build, and these jets will start firing at full strength, and you can hear it now.
Okay, so it looks like we got a really good flow here, where on some cases where the flow is too strong, you come in with a ball valve where you can control it, but on yours, we're sitting here with a 20-foot long bed, so you have 40 feet of PVC, and the spray looks like it's just about right. As you can come up with the camera, you can see over here, we've been running it for about 5 minutes or so, and you can see as it's coming out. This is before it gets buried right here. So once it gets buried, it's going to be right up to about here, and as you can see, the water's spreading right in the middle as it's spreading. So we're breaking in. We're going to come with the hose, and Connie's going to break it in after she fills it up with the soil. But for now, this is 40 feet of AquaJet, and the spray looks just about right, because as you see, it's going to come right out to the edge right there and capillate. So the water with the resistance will probably end up right about there, then the rest will capillate out. So this is a really good spray on this bed. So tell us, Connie, what else do you have to do in order, before you plant? What are your plans?
Well, let me just mention too that because this is such a long runway, I wanted to ensure that it doesn't sag or bow. So I just kind of did this on my own, but you can see it's kind of like a plastic, like PVC, and you use that for a drain pipe on the roof. And I just cut it off, and I buried 2 of them on each side, and that's supporting this. So I thought that would be a good thing. My plans now are to get some new compost, and about 50% of it will be compost, and the other 50% will be amendments and so forth. And then I'm going to lay it all in there, as Rob said, about up to here. And I'm going to let it cook for about 3 weeks. Put some plastic over it, kill any pathogens or any seedlings, and then plant.
Okay, so another thing that we'd like to show you is to make sure that your anti-siphon valve is working correctly. And the reason that you want to do that is because the water needs to drain for the system for you to take advantage of the aeration properties. So we're going to go ahead and turn this off manually. Okay, now it shuts down, but you see right here, as your water's still coming out, as you come down the line, let me pick it up for you. As you see how this water is just still draining out because it's not vapor locked. And so the water, we know that the water is going to drain totally from the system, and you can take advantage of all the aeration properties. So we'll be back in just a minute and wrap this video up, and we want to thank Connie for inviting us over. So one last segment, we'll be back in just a second. So here we are, and as you know, one of the most important things in growing is the soil. You need the good soil, the organic soil, the compost in order for the microbes to thrive. Then the AquaJet comes in and waters and aerates, and when it aerates, it gives the microbes a better environment so they can expand more, and you'll have even a better relationship, and that's what the AquaJet is all about, not only watering but aeration. So here we are in the back, and I want Connie to come on over. Come on in here, Connie, and explain to us what you're doing, because you got some really neat things going on. And as you're building your soil, you plan on doing this for season after season. So as an ongoing process, and this is the first year that you're doing the compost. So explain to us and our viewers about your compost piles and how you came about to do that.
Sure, I'd be happy to. This is a work in progress, actually. There's 3 areas that I sectioned off, and my first area here is, I call it my staging area, and this is where everything gets dumped. We have a very deep property. I'm not sure exactly how deep, but it's very, very deep. So we got a lot of grass and a lot of leaves, trees, and so on. So we started just piling it into this area here. Then I built this frame. Online I found a plan, and so I built this myself with some chicken wire, and then so this is stage 2. After it goes from here, it goes into here, and instead of trying to mix it up in the same bin, I throw it over into this bin, and that kind of starts the process upside down on this side. And then I go from here once it's really broken down. Like if I stick my hand in here, you're already seeing dirt. So from here, I go into our compost tumbler, and we finish it off. So this is kind of like the finishing room here. And look at that, it's already breaking down. Good stuff right here. And that's without any additives or anything. And then there's some right over here onto the side that was finished. Actually, it could be broken down more, but anyway. So there you have it.
Well, that's an excellent process, because you start from over there, and as you turn it, and then you get to the end, then you got your soil, and now you got your compost for next year's grow when you add to the bed. Because remember, when you have compost, it's going to break down each year, and you're going to have to keep adding it. So this is a really good system. And then as you add it, you can amend it also.
Right.
Great. So we think this is a really good setup. So we want to thank you, Connie, for inviting us over, and we want to thank you for installing the AquaJet. Now all you have to do is put the rest of the soil in there and plant your seeds. And tell us, what are you going to plant in that bed?
Well, it's going to be a few weeks down the line, but hopefully I'll still make the cucumber season, and I want to do some tomatoes. My favorite are, of course, the cool weather plants like the lettuces and so forth. And I have a separate plan for that. I'm thinking of doing some aquaponics or something like that to do that. But whatever is available for the season, I'm going to try to experiment with that. But I'll definitely get back to you and let you know the progress and some pictures.
Yeah, because we look forward to coming back and not only taking some pictures, but doing a follow-up video to see how your garden grows and see how everything works. Here in Southern California, we can do gardens all year round. So, you know, Connie, when she's talking about doing the cold weather crops, that means she'll be planting probably somewhere around, what, November or so.
Right.
And then growing through, because we don't get too cold here in the winter. So we're very fortunate and we can keep our garden growing. So we'll be back to do that sort of video. We'll wait for you to give us a call and say, hey, come on over and look at it whenever that may be after she plans. So we want to thank you for inviting us and thank you for putting the AquaJet in, and we look forward to a return trip.
Me too, and I'm excited about it, very excited. And also about the comparison between the drip and the AquaJet as well.
Great, and that's what we're looking for too, is the comparison between the drip and the AquaJet. So for Rob at Intelligent Irrigation LLC, reminding you to water the intelligent way with the AquaJet.